items I wanted to highlight.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Nero on finance? If there was none, take a motion to accept the report.
I'll move.
Shelley moves.
I'll second.
Terry seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to the new business with Mrs. Carlson.
Okay, we're going to start with our principals, Mr. Matos.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are recognizing our retirees for our good news. And in the elementary, we have one retiree, Mrs. Sue Calhoun, who's retiring after 35 years of teaching. And so we always ask our staff for a few of their thoughts on Mrs. Calhoun. These are just some things that they turned in. Sue will always be remembered for checking in with all of her coworkers. She often spoke up for all of us and asked the hard questions to ensure we had the best resources and opportunities possible. She's always the first person to welcome a new staff member. She's warm and welcoming and makes the new person feel comfortable in new surroundings. When I began teaching in South Range, Sue was sure to get my phone number, to get to know my daughters, and make us all feel like she was glad we were here. It's never fun to be the new person, and Sue's welcoming heart makes it that much easier. She continues to show compassion and love for her students. The commitment to excellence in her classroom has always been paramount. Her humor and insightful nature will truly be missed. She's an incredible teacher, friend, and woman, which are all emphasized by her loving, kind nature and great sense of humor. I've loved every interaction with Sue and feel extra thankful to have many years of Camp Fitch time with her to bond even closer. As a music teacher, I've had the great pleasure of working with Sue for the past 7 years. She's been a very supportive, reassuring colleague who helped me immensely with the 4th grade music programs. I've always admired her ability to roll with whatever challenges came her way in a cool, calm, and collected manner. Sue is such a great role model, not only to her students, but also her coworkers. My favorite memories of Sue are from our times at Camp Fitch. Anyone can see that she has such a passion for what she does, and she loves her students. I've had the privilege of getting to know Sue as a parent and colleague. Her love for her students at South Range has shown through in both areas. We navigated COVID together, behavior plans, and shared in our wearing Westminster days. I've always enjoyed talking and laughing with her during my time here, and will miss her acknowledging me from down the hall with a nod. Generations of South Range Raiders, including my own children, have benefited from Sue as their teacher, and I consider myself lucky to have worked with her. And finally, Sue's gentle, compassionate, and kind spirit is a light in the school. Her love and admiration for her students is felt as soon as you enter her classroom. Little notes of admiration such as Mrs. Calhoun is the best, or we love Mrs. Calhoun, are always written in the corners of her whiteboards. Her friendship with Lori Vizdak is a delight to witness, especially when they walk into school wearing coordinating outfits without planning it. Sue is a mother hen, and the impacts she has had on others at South Range Elementary will continue far beyond her retirement. So on behalf of myself and Hull Elementary, we just want to wish Sue Calhoun the best in retirement. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. From the middle school, before I get into the retirements, I just want to mention Lonnie Caroline. Lonnie's an 8th grader in our building. He won the Mahoning County Solid Waste Management Green Team's Earth Day Billboard Design Contest. He came in first place for Mahoning County in the 8th grade division. And you can actually see his artwork. I'm sure some of you have already seen it. You may not even realize it. It's on a billboard just down the intersection of Western Reserve and Route 46 as you're heading toward the school from Canfield. So if you're driving that way, take a look. So congratulations to Bonnie. As far as my retirements go, we have 2.5, I guess, in the middle school because Mr. Rowan will share on Dr. Vaneski as well. My first is Mrs. Sue Kelly. She is an intervention specialist for our 5th and 6th graders. And I reached out to a colleague of each of these fine teachers to just give me a little bit of background and their thoughts and express our thanks to her for the vast contributions she has made, not only to the academic life of all of her students and our school, but also to every other aspect of school life where she has always been generous with her time and talents. She has shared so much with everyone with whom she has crossed paths. Kindness, dedication, patience, and understanding, just to name a few. It will not be the same without Sue Kelly at South Range Middle School. Even though her retirement is a time to celebrate all the wonderful contributions Sue has brought to South Range, it is also a sad time for those of us losing such a dedicated teacher and coworker. Sue has been an absolute pleasure to work with for all of these years, and her kindness, dedication, patience, and understanding will surely be missed, but never forgotten. Wishing Sue a wonderful and very happy retirement filled with fun, family, friends, and everything that brings joy to her. So that's Sue Kelly, again, 5th and 6th grade intervention specialist. Tanya Frost, 8th grade science. She will also be retiring. I reached out to Mrs. Debbie Staffeld, who teaches language arts at the 8th grade. Debbie says we could spend page after page telling stories about Tanya Frost, what she has meant to this district, what she has meant to the students that have come through her classroom, and what she has meant to her coworkers. Tanya Frost is the type of coworker that makes you love coming to work each day. She has been the mother of our 8th grade family. She makes us laugh every day, she listens to our complaints, and keeps us from doing or saying things we shouldn't. She is the science teacher we wish we had. Ask any freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. They will tell you they still remember content from 8th grade science. They remember it because of the hands-on lessons she developed. These lessons take a lot of time and effort. Most of you will never know how much. They make the content relevant and part of the student's permanent knowledge. That is teaching. However, the most powerful lesson we have learned from Tanya Frost is that what matters most is how much you care about and look out for each student that is in your classroom. Standards will be taught, marks on report cards will be posted, conferences will be had, state tests will be given, etc. The importance of all of this pales in comparison to the compassion you give to the young people you have been entrusted with. Year after year, students come back to visit her, even after graduation, seeking motherly advice and adult support. She has made each of these kids feel valued and special in a way we really envy. Each one is made to feel they have a different relationship with her, that she somehow cares more for them. Some may think of Tanya as having 3 children, or 3 boys, when in reality she has thousands, each of which will consider her a member of their family for the rest of their lives. We will continue to take this lesson we have learned from her and continue to let it shape our own classrooms for the remainder of our careers. We just hope we can provide even a fraction of the warmth that she has contributed through hers. Real quick funny story about Tanya. This was several years back. It was a Saturday. I was out mowing the grass and my phone rings. It's Tanya. Why is she calling me on a Saturday? Tanya, everything okay? Hey boss. She always called me boss. She goes, I'm at Giant Eagle and I have those 5 $100 Amazon gift cards that you asked for. I'm like, what are you talking about? So she got a text and hey, this is Dan. I can't get to the phone, but could you go to Giant Eagle and give me 5 $100 Amazon gift cards? Now, that text was sent to just about every staff member. I didn't get a phone call from any other staff member. She was in line at Giant Eagle ready to buy $500 worth of Amazon gift cards to give to me because I asked for that when the teller said, I think you might be getting scammed here. And sure enough, she was. But I really appreciate the fact that Tanya would go, and so that goes to show how much she cares for her, the people she works with. So I just thought I'd share that with Tanya. She'd kill me for sharing that. And my final one, and this is going to be a segue into Mr. Rowan, is Dr. John Vineski. Everybody knows Dr. Vineski. He's been a staple in our music department for years and years. This comes from Kim Vizdos, his colleague. Dr. John Vineski began his teaching career here at South Range in 1991. He taught instrumental and vocal music for 6 years and then began teaching at Youngstown State University, where he directed bands, taught music education courses, and supervised student leaders. In 2005, he returned to his home, the South Range Music Department. While teaching full-time at South Range and raising a family, Dr. Vineski earned his doctoral degree in music education in 2014. Band and choral students of all ages have reaped the benefits of not only his excellent music teaching skills, but also the important life lessons he has shared. demonstrated perseverance despite hurdles he has endured. He displays dedication to his profession and always displays a positive attitude, a smile, and an encouraging word for all students and colleagues that he encounters each day. He will be greatly missed. We would like to thank Dr. Vineski for his 35 years of teaching music education and wish him the very best as he retires. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi there, Steve Rowan, the high school principal. I'm just carrying the notes that Mr. Matus had, because I'm just gonna talk about my staff, just looking like I have a piece of paper that I'm gonna read. I have I have 1.5 person, and then I'm gonna recognize one district person for all of us. I will just start with Dr. Vineski. If you're in this room and you're if you've been to any of our concerts, or if you've been to any of our football games or anything like that, John Vineski has been one of our high school marching band, involved in marching band for several years at South Range. And he's the kind of guy who, no matter what's going on or what kind of day he's having, you just can't really tell if it's a good or bad day. There's a saying about not every day is a good day, but there's some good in every day. Dr. Vineski he lives that motto. For the last few years, it's been a struggle for him to come to school on a lot of days because of what he deals with day in and day out. And I will tell you, as the high school principal, he has ridden for 2 years his scooter down to the high school office. He parks it right outside the high school office. He walks in to check his mailbox. He says good morning to me every morning. He never misses a morning. Turns around, walks back out, gets in his scooter, and I'm assuming he probably goes over to the middle school and does the same thing, because he has a mailbox in each one of our buildings. He has influenced so many people in our district, music-wise, and a tribute to him is involvement in all the extracurricular bands, the stand-up band, and the bands involved in YSU. I will tell you, as the high school principal, it is very rare that I do not get a call from Youngstown State almost every semester asking me if we would be willing to have a music student teacher because of Dr. Vineski's influence at YSU. So he is going to be sorely missed. He's a wonderful man, and he's been a great friend of mine. So I wish him luck. I wish him great health over the next several years, and I really wish him good luck in his retirement. The second person I'm going to talk about is through our district. It's Officer Hartman. Brian Hartman has been our school resource officer for my 13 years here, actually my 14 years here. I think he was assigned here maybe 2 or 3 years before I got here. So I'm going to say about 17 or so years of him being our school resource officer. I was just chatting with him the other day. You know, we had an incident in our community, and I was talking to him, just picking his brain about everything. He's been a police officer in our community for his career, and I was just asking him all these questions. And one of the things he said to me that's just unbelievable is, in his career as being a Beaver Township police officer, he's never had to discharge his gun, ever. Practice, yes. Never, ever once did he ever have to, on duty, discharge his gun. And I think that says something for our community, obviously, but I think it also says something about Officer Hartman's demeanor. He is as intense a person as you can ask for when he has to be an intense person. But he is about as laid back a police officer as I've ever met in my whole life. When something goes on at the school and I gotta ask him a question, or he's over dealing with the inner Steve, he is like the calming effect of, guys, we got this, this is what we're gonna do, you know. And a lot of times, if we don't look at a blueprint, what Brian is guiding us to do, if we go and look at the blueprint, it's almost step by step exactly what we should be doing. So I wish Brian good luck. He's already got a retirement job planned. He is planning on becoming a trapper, which always comes handy when you can't get rid of some type of critter or something. But He's a great guy. He's gonna be sorely missed by our entire district. I think our kids love him. I think, they're gonna miss his demeanor as well, walking in the hallway, his presence. So I wish him good luck in his retirement. And I told him he's allowed to come back and walk around our building anytime. He just doesn't have to wear that bulletproof vest. If you ever seen Brian without a bulletproof vest, he looks like a totally different person. So, I told him to come back anytime. He can run our drills for us because he's so organized on our drills. And I say that being very, 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 very sarcastic, I think. But the last person I'm gonna acknowledge in the high school is Lisa Toy. So Mrs. Toy is South Range through and through. She went to kindergarten in South Range. She went to first grade all the way through 12th grade. She's a South Range girl through and through. When I first got hired here, I had nephews that had Mrs. Toy. I heard all kinds of stories about Mrs. Toy, okay? And I was afraid of Mrs. Toy when I got hired here. And when I came here, she was one of the first ones to come into my office and greet me and welcome me. And it didn't take me long to realize that lady she's got a huge heart. And I know that she's a tough English teacher, and I know she has expectations for our kids, and she scares some of our kids. My two kids had her, and they were both afraid of her, okay? But I can tell you, when kids had her for English, when they got out of her English class, they knew what they were doing. And a lot of our kids were able to use the work that they did in her class. When they went to college, they were able to not just return that in or resubmit it, but they were able to edit what they needed to edit when they were in high school and turn it in. And I will tell you that she's a wonderful person. And she is South Range through and through. She's been like a roller coaster these last couple months, where she will come in and she'll talk and smile and say, this is 2 more faculty meetings or 1 more faculty meeting. And then she'll come into my office and she'll look at me and she'll start to get choked up, and she just has been here for so long that this is definitely part of her life, and it's a big part of her life. And I will tell you that our kids are absolutely gonna miss Mrs. Toy. The standards that she sets, the bar that she sets, getting our kids over that bar, doing anything that she has to do for our kids. She was always one that would come into my office and say, we need to do this or we need to do that. And I just kind of listened to what she told me to do, and we kind of went with it. So I obviously want to wish her good luck in her retirement, good health, and that we are absolutely going to miss all 3 of the people that are retiring from high school. Thanks. Hope everybody has a good evening.
Okay, the rest of our reports are they're busy doing other things. Ms. White, do you have anything for student liaison? Okay. Kind of want to just highlight a few end of the year updates. As a reminder, we don't have school on May 29th, and our last day with students is May 31st. Commencement is on the 28th at 5 p.m. It will be streamed live for families who are unable to attend, or any community people who would like to watch. We have started receiving our Ohio State assessment data. Now that everything's done online, we get our results a lot quicker. So our administration and some of our staff have already started digging into it, which usually takes place in August. So it's kind of nice to have early accessibility to this. End of the year celebrations, many parents will be in and out of the building over the next week and a half with our various award ceremonies and even a couple concerts. The last thing I do want to update, thanks everybody for our patience with our website. I would like to recognize Mr. McDowell, he's sitting in the back. We had to do a complete overhaul because the company changed platforms, and he has been diligently working to clean up everything that's like kind of behind the scenes that you can't see with the transfer over. And for the most part, we're done. I know our athletic page needs completely updated, but Mr. Farron is working on kind of creating it so it looks a little different, and it'll be easier for parents to access what they need to. I also want to highlight, you'll notice one of the agenda items, we will be starting to move forward with adding the upgraded bus videos, because we got the BWC, we received some money off of that. So it will help offset some of the cost of the upgraded bus videos. So as soon as the money comes in, we'll start finishing out that project. Any questions for me on anything? Okay.
You know what, I gotta say one more thing. This year, I had a chemistry teacher, Mrs. Crumpack. She right now is going through some treatments, and we had a gal, a graduate from South Range, Sarah Durr. She's a doctor of chiropractic medicine. She was kind of like in between her what she finished with her schooling, and she's starting her own business in town. And we could not find anybody to take the place for Mrs. Crumpack. Sarah came in, she's a science kid, and her and I worked together, and she has taken over Mrs. Crumpack's class for the past like 5 months or so, and I guess she's kind of retiring from teaching. So I should have talked about her when I was up here. She only had like about a 5-month teaching career, which she said was long enough for her. She was ready to start her practice, but she has done an unbelievable job with our kids, kind of just balancing things. Mrs. Crumpack had everything laid out in Mrs. Crumpack style. She was always worried about things going on in school, communicating with Sarah, but Sarah did an unbelievable job in our building, teaching our kids chemistry. At first couple weeks she was there, I was in the class almost every day, just kind of helping her teach and just reassuring her that she was doing the right thing. And like these last couple months, she pretty much has told me, just don't come up into the room, just leave me alone and let me do this my way. And she's done a great job, so I definitely want to make sure that our board knows Sarah Durr has been wonderful for her staff. She's done a great job. And I also want Diane, if she's watching, to know that everybody in our school is still thinking about her a lot. Every day we're praying for her, and hopefully pretty soon she's going to be coming back here and rejoining our force. So, thanks.
You know, he's right. Some of the connections that she made, Mrs. Durr actually said, Mrs. Durr actually said that the connection she had with Ms. Crumpack is the reason she was willing to do this for us. And then she's been accepted by the kids and a lot of the staff that even though she's going to start her practice, she actually reached out to see if there's something else she could stay connected with in the district, whether it be bus driving or something that she could make fit into her schedule. So she wants to still stay a part of the district. So that's a testament to the people who opened their arms and supported her, because she did a great job helping us. All right, let's see if I can sort of. All right, you want me to go through the agenda?
Not yet. I just want to say, really there's nothing else that I can say, because the highest compliments these retiring teachers came from their peers and from their administrators. It just shows what wonderful people they are. They're willing to help developing teachers and give them a good example of their love and care that they provide for their students and their fellow staff. You heard a lot of terms like a mother figure. Notice they didn't say grandmother figure. And I won't name any names because I don't want to give away ages, but I can specifically remember some activities in some of their classes to this day. So to say they left an impression on each of their students is definitely not an understatement. I've even had people from other communities find out that I'm from South Range, and they ask about specific teachers, some of which are retiring this year, because they know them from out of district and they know, the wonderful things that they've heard about them. And we're so blessed to live in this area with such a great community. And, I think I speak on behalf of the board that we really do appreciate and feel that the teachers, they're the foundation that we've been building this district upon. So on behalf of the board, I'd like to just wish them the best and hope they enjoy their retirement. If nobody has anything else, we can go ahead to the agenda items.
Okay, we'll see if this stays hot. I think the battery's dying. Mario already talked about the 5-year forecast. The next thing on the agenda would be the Medicaid school program. This is the reimbursement for services like speech, OT, and some of our nursing services that the school can get reimbursed for. The electric supplier agreement.
Power for Schools is a consortium through the House School Council, helps get discounted rates on our electricity.
The resource officer memorandum with Beaver Township for the 23-24 school year. We did select Officer Hassey through an interview process that we had a few members from the district.
And he is, he's finishing up his DARE training and resource officer training. So Officer Hassey will be replacing.
Officer Hassey will be replacing Officer Hartman, so next school year. The next one I already mentioned, the BWC safety grant. This will be helping offset the cost of upgrading our cameras on our buses. Radar care, before and after care. This is to be able to continue this next school year. We will be transitioning to a new director or new directors moving into next year. Would like to thank Mrs. Frank. She's still going to be an aide in our building, but she's stepping down from organizing and running our radar care. Thank you for all of her hard work. Renewal of our drug and alcohol testing that we do randomly with our athletes and other activities for non-academic activities. Approve the following purchase orders.
Some of these are year-end items, as we had continuing purchase orders that didn't have any money left that we needed approval on.
And discards from our library at the end of every year. The board receives a list of books, which was in your packet, that we removed from the library. These are generally removed from the library because they've not been taken out in circulation. They've just kind of been sitting there. So they pull those out and replace them with new books every year. Approve the transfer of funds for the termination benefits. This was something Mr. Nero created to help prepare for when we have retirements. Approve the donation of a laser printer. So Kathy Vegso donated a laser printer to the district. It was, I believe, her son's, and it's no longer used, so she donated it to our district. And those would be all of them. Any questions on any of those?
Prior to voting, we'll go into the time for public participation. So the first section is public participation for agenda items. So if you'd like to speak on an agenda item, we ask you get up, state your name, limit your time to 2 minutes, and please give your address.
Rich Renchak, 115 Longview, North Lima. Mario, I was talking to before the meeting about the 5-year financial forecast. And he said that we're finishing this year in the black, but next year we have a projected $500,000 deficit, I believe. So my question is, how do we plan on alleviating that deficit? Because you're not allowed to operate in the red, so obviously you've got to make cuts somewhere or reduce staff or do something. That's 5-year 5. I always try and come to the 5-year forecast meetings because it's that's what's going to impact me. I don't think if we're looking, for a levy, I don't think that's a good idea. I think you have very little chance, if any, that it'll pass. Next year is a reevaluation of property taxes. I saw Ralph Meacham at an event earlier this year, and he said most taxpayers are looking at, in his estimation, based on sales, what houses are selling for, about a 20 to 25% increase next year. So I'm just telling you, you're gonna have to learn to live within your budget because I don't think you're gonna be able to, and I would not support an additional levy as a resident who lives here. Thank you.
If there's nobody else for agenda items, we can go through and vote on the, sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm Jeremy Welker, 12073 Market Street. Wanted to thank the district and thank the school. I know on the agenda is the approval of the wrestling coach, which is Coach Frank. We all know that the wrestling family is pretty tight and pretty unique. Goes a long way with coaching kids, right? Mentoring our kids, some of us obviously as parents, into young men, is something that I hold very dear to me. And I think, Frank's a great person. I think he can do a very good job for all of us. And I just want to congratulate him, tell him we're here for him. There's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes, And all of us are here for you, ready to support you, ready to get on the right foot, move forward. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, let's go back through and vote on the agenda items, then we'll come back to public participation for non-agenda items, please. The first item, the adoption of the 5-year financial forecast. We just need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Amy moves.
I'll second.
Shelley seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the South Range Schools Medicaid School Program Service Agreement. Terry moves. Elizabeth seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the electrical supplier agreement.
So moved.
Shelley moves.
I'll second.
Amy seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the SRO Memorandum of Understanding. Elizabeth moves.
I'll second.
Terry seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The BWC School Safety and Security Grant. Terry moves. Elizabeth seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Raider Before and After Care Program approval for 22-23 school year. I'm sorry, 23-24 school year.
So moved.
Amy moves.
Second.
Shelley seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the drug and alcohol testing. Elizabeth moves.
I'll second.
Terry seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the 3 purchase orders listed below.
So moved.
Amy moves.
Second.
Elizabeth seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the following books on the list for discard from the library. Terry moves.
Second.
Elizabeth seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the transfer of funds for the termination of benefits fund.
So moved.
Amy moves.
I'll second.
Terry seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the donation of the laser printer. Elizabeth moves.
Second.
Shelley seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll open the floor up for public participation for non-agenda items. Again, we limit the time to 2 minutes, please. And just come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and the floor is yours.
Rich Ranchak, 115 Longview, North Lima. You are losing some very big talent this year. I mean, that's a tremendous loss of teachers, that type of experience you don't replace easily. That said, you know, I think you're losing a tremendous senior English teacher, but about 50% of our kids are graduating with College Credit Plus. So realistically, you may not have to replace her in full. Most of our kids, 40 to 50% of our kids are, if you look at your state report card, are college-ready material. Those kids probably shouldn't even take senior English here. Those kids should be taking senior English at YSU or Kent State. You take a semester of college English is worth an entire year of high school English. So your senior year, you could literally take writing 1 and writing 2 and graduate and have fulfilled your high school English requirement, but also fulfilled your college English requirement. So that might be one way. I know, you know, it looks to me like you're going to have to save money, consolidation of positions, or potentially not replacing people, or coming up with creative ways not to replace people might be something you want to consider. I've been a big champion of College Credit Plus, and I think you might be able to actually use that to save money going forward. Thank you.
I'm short, sorry. Alex Hudak, 7855 Roller Road. Hello, for those of you who have not met me, my name's Alex Hudak. I'm a teacher and I have 3 Raiders, Eli, Ford, and Maxwell. We absolutely love it here. Last year I was made aware when we moved here that you did not have art. This gave me pause as this is my son Eli's favorite subject. I decided to research options to bring it back this year. I started asking friends in nonprofit circles what we could do. Grants, volunteers, what are other districts doing? Then I found out last month that this is no longer necessary because we're getting art. Then I heard a rumor that we might be losing our tech and our librarian. I understand the nightmare, which is school budgets and cuts, and I can only assume that this is due to lack of funding. I respect the board and administration's diligence in managing our tax dollars responsibly, so thank you. However, I understand the importance of a qualified librarian, and I'm hoping that you see the benefit too. Our children do not have access to a public library within our district borders. I have trained and volunteered over the past 12 weeks in this library here. I expected to be working with the middle school students. However, I believe due to the timing of the year and the established routines, I never actually had any students show up. So we don't know if this volunteer model would have actually been successful or not. Would it possibly work out to give them 1 more year with a start in the fall of 2 to 3 trained volunteers along with Mrs. Pluchinski? Then we could allow grades K through 12 to access books each week. As for technology, also vital for state testing and post-secondary readiness, I know I could find a way to fund this with outside grants or through fundraising. I know this may not be a sustainable long-term option, but it might be the only thing to save it at this point, and so I'm willing to try if you're willing to let me. In conclusion, if none of this is feasible, or your minds are made up, or you all just think I'm crazy, I just wanted to show up here today and show you that if you guys keep us in the loop and informed, that there are parents here today that are absolutely willing to support you. And we would just love to have all 5 specials back in our elementary school and our teachers. Thank you.
Hello, John Pluchinski. I'm here to support my wife, so it's hard for me to be a little bit impartial when it comes to this. But I'm lucky enough where I can take myself away. I've been in sales for a long time, so I kind of put myself in the other person's position, and I look at funding-wise, I'm not sure how this saves the district money when it comes to it. So I'd ask the treasurer to run through those numbers again. If you're going to get rid of the librarian's position and hire 2 part-time people, but put her in another position that was part-time, now full-time, I'm not sure how that saves money. So that's the first question on that when it comes to it. Second thing is as board members, I'm your customer when it comes to it. Okay, so I would like you and the treasurer and the superintendent to do things, you know, that we see that's, I would say, profitable for the district when it comes to it. And my wife knows I'm critical when it comes to a lot of things and that. So when the school was built, you know, this beautiful room that we have here and stuff like that, there's no windows in here. Why are there no windows in here? Because the light would come in, you couldn't be able to see. So we built a gymnasium, we built a library, we put $12,000 in media in the library that we can't use because there's light in the library. We spent $12,000 over the last how many years on blinds. So frivolous spend when it comes to it. I understand the superintendent is now leaving, so I congratulate her on her new position. Okay, as a taxpayer, okay, and as I look at my employees that I have, we have people that we hire and we sign them the contracts and they have a so-called non-compete when it comes to it. I understand that the board paid, or I should say I paid for a piece of her education when it comes to it. That education piece should come back to the taxpayers. No ifs, ands, or buts. It should have been a 5-year contract or 10-year contract that says, if your education cost us $30,000, it's $2,000 a year that you gotta pay back to us for every year that you leave when it comes to it. I'm a national account manager. If I leave the company, okay, I'm responsible to pay back $1,000 for every hour of training I have. Thank you.
If there's no one else that'd like to address the board at this time, I would say Yeah, the 5 of us up here, the administration, everybody involved in the district, we have a huge responsibility. And that's to balance the needs of our students with the budget that we've been given. So in order to best do that, we're actively making changes, making adjustments that will result in savings, because as you know, with the forecast, if we are in a cash balance negative in year 3, the state comes in and tells us what to do. They want to see reports, they want to know what we're doing to change that. So what we're doing right now is making modifications to change that. At the time when technology was created, that program was the only place that some of those students got computers. With the COVID funding, we added a lot of computers. A lot of the elementary kids, they all have Chromebooks, so they're able to do some of the typing and the other programs that they would otherwise get in technology in their centers in the elementary classrooms, which opened up the opportunity for us to allow them to have art. I don't think anybody would argue that the kids are spending enough time on screens, so we're trying to open up the realm of possibilities for them to express themselves other ways with their hands through art. So yes, I would say this is all part of a wide cost savings, and it's all part of a bigger plan that's falling into place at this point. So I'm sure Mr. Nero would be happy to explain if anybody had any specific questions as far as the budget goes or what the cost savings are. But at this time, Mrs. Carlson, do you have anything to add to that?
I would like to clarify too.
Just to clarify a little bit, in the last 48 hours, there's been a slight change. So it is not, the move is not replacing going from a part-time to a full-time. It's actually just replacing that part-time position, or the full-time position that was vacated. And the part-time position is now posted to be filled. So it is actually, things got adjusted over the last 48 hours, and it's just full-time to full-time. There's not an increase there. So the savings is the decrease in the library. So just to clarify, I understand that's the way it was originally, but things have changed.
All right, at this time, we're going to move into personnel. Mrs. Carlson, give the microphone back so you can review that.
Okay, we have a lot on the agenda. So for this school year, we were very fortunate. We had Drew Farron did her student teaching here, and so now she can finish out the year now that she has her license to finish subbing, which is a good time. The end of the year is very busy with transition meetings and different testing, so it's good to have yet another person who can help us sub. Next school year, we are actually very elated. We have a special student in the elementary who needs a special aid, and Laura Elder, who understands everything this child needs, is coming back to be her one-on-one aid. So we are very fortunate to have an experienced teacher, let alone an experienced parent who understands what to do best there with that child. I'm suggesting I do want to mention the music interviews. So this year they did interviews in person, and then they had the top 3 applicants come back and actually teach a lesson in front of our students, and they were observed that way. So we are recommending Sarah Kamza as our next music teacher to, as I like to say, we're not replacing Mr. Fineski, we're filling the spot that he vacated. So Sarah is here, actually Sarah is in the back, so that is Sarah Kamza. The changes in contract, Catherine McMurray was one of our part-time title teachers. She is going to be moving into kindergarten. If you remember last meeting, our kindergarten opening happened because one of our kindergarten teachers took our .5 art job. Change in placement, Rosanna Pluchinski to the full-time opening in the Title I position. Two-year limited classified contract for 23-24, 24-25, Amy Ewing. Again, we've got one of our parents who joined in on our transportation, so she's going to replace Mr. Alquist, who will be retiring as our new bus driver. Tanya Frost, one of our retirees, is asking that we amend her retirement date. She was originally August 16th, but she needs it to be June 30th. Accept Sue Kelly's retirement effective August 16th. Many of these supplementals were already approved, so I'm going to highlight some of them. I did it like this so payroll can see the exact percentages and it's in a nice order for her, and for Mario, I wanted them all listed. So we had already done our football prior, as well as our soccer. I do want to highlight Joe Staffeld is returning as assistant boys, and then Nina Caroline will be our girls. I do want to highlight with our soccer, they have already embedded themselves in our youth league and have been working back and forth to increase the student engagement and kind of getting our older kids connected with our younger kids and creating that partnership, which is something that our administration really highlighted that they wanted to see happen. Matt Roshak is moving into varsity cross country. Another change would be Clyde Beaver is going to take over middle school cross country. New assistant golf coach will be Mark Giese. Our cheerleading advisors are staying the same. Girls basketball staying the same. Boys basketball, if I could have Pat Carden is our new basketball coach that we are recommending. Pat is here with us as well in the back. He has 2 individuals he's recommended. Steve French and Daniel Riddle will also be joining with him. As you heard earlier, we have a new wrestling coach, Frank Giordano, with us here as well tonight. The rest of these are the same individuals that have been hired throughout the last 2 months, actually. Coordinators, we have our supplementals, so some changes in this will be Sarah Kamsa will be doing assistant band director, middle school, and our vocals. She will be running our high school vocal program. Another change moving forward, some of our teachers have decided to step down from some of these supplementals, so we do have a change. Mr. Sabota will be taking over middle school yearbook. If you go down to our drama, Nicole Freifogel, Nikki Dispenza will also be kind of taking over the helm of our drama. Mr. Sabota and Mrs. Sabota stepping down from that as well. And I believe that would be all the changes for those. And then we have our extended day contracts for counseling, career connections, family, consumer science, band, and special education and Title I. So those individuals have applied to receive their extended days where they come in either before school, after school, or they, for Title I, they have to do like parent involvement nights where it requires them to stay after at different times. And then we have our lead mentors. There has been a change to the mentoring program. So right now, we do have all of them approved to be mentors, but only Lisa Fullerton, Sarah Fischel, and Jen Amendola will actually have people they're responsible for. If through the hiring of new employees, we have to assign a mentor, then Courtney Chandler, Angela Rosen, and Brock would be able to pick up those. And then we have our event deans with Kristen Scott, Anthony Foster, Saturday or morning detention, Mark Giese, and Ange Rosen. And then approve the 2% assistant baseball supplemental increase for Paul Munson, since he's not in the certified or classified agreement. Success by 6, if you remember the United Way program, the 2 teachers will be Courtney Kane, Diana Hatsigi, aides, Lisa Stiliano, Sue Durr, Mary Lou Crank, Jen Frank, and Courtney Moore, and then the nurse will be Kim Peterson, and then finally, Michaela Kirsten will be joining the summer cleaning crew again. Any questions on any of those? After we're done voting, we do have another one after that. We have 2 parts for personnel. Do you just want me to highlight the second? Okay. The second, after you guys do that first voting, then we have a second personnel for Nathan Toy for assistant football coach.
Board, are there any questions on personnel? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept that list.
So moved.
Amy moves.
I'll second.
Shelley seconds. Mr. Nero, if you call the roll, please.
Amy White,
Yes.
Shelley Blue,
Yes.
Terry Lau,
Yes.
Elizabeth Johnson,
Yes.
Brian Bagwell.
Yes. And then on to personnel number 2 for Nathan Toy, a motion to accept him. Elizabeth moves. Terry seconds. Mr. Nero, roll again, please.
Yes. Yes.
Abstain.
Yes. This time, I would entertain a motion for the board to enter executive session for the consideration of appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee. Terry moves.
I'll second.
Amy seconds. Last roll, Mr. Nero.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yes. The board enters executive at 6:53. There won't be any action taken after executive, so if you'd like to stick around and see us close, you're welcome to. Otherwise, thank you and have a nice evening.